what were the challenges of developing a character with no dialogue?
Well, I mean, a lot of challenges when you're playing a character that doesn't have any dialogue. You know, first of all, just explaining who the character is and telling the story. You know, the dialogue is very helpful doing that. So when you remove that element, all the other elements become much more important. And emotionally, it was a lot more difficult because the text usually helps your emotions come alive during a scene. And when you remove that, you know, I had to rely completely on creating that emotional turmoil in me before every take. So that was very demanding. I ended up sort of emotionally prepping for every take on this film in the same way that I usually would do for maybe the most emotional scene of another film. So in that way, it was very demanding. But then also, I found, you know, being trained classically and having worked in theater was really helpful in this, because on stage you're much more used to expressing your emotions and expressing the character with your whole body, and that became very important in this film as well.
And did you do your own stunts?
Yeah, I really like the action part of storytelling. I think it's really fascinating to tell the story of those moments of, like, in a fight to the death, or if anyone has ever been in a fight or in a car crash, they know that the perception of time gets really warped, and a couple of seconds can feel like an eternity. And if you've ever been in a fight, then you know that's the same kind of feeling, and especially with another person. And there's so much communication and story going on, you know, in just a few seconds. So to be able to try to tell that story on film is really difficult, but it's also exciting to try to do that. A big part of, you know, the way that John wanted to shoot this film, he wanted to linger on, you know, wider shots and not rely on cutting very much. And if you don't cut very much, then you can't switch in and out between the stunt guy and the actor. And so since I enjoy doing that part, I tried to do, you know, most of the stunts. And also I brought in a lot of the stunt guys that I've worked with before to this film. And early on we're designing the fights. First we designed them in a way so I could do, you know, all of the stunts and I could do all of the fights. My ambition was always to, you know, do the most of the fights myself. And so what we did was we really wanted to make it gritty and messy, because the character's also, he's not well trained in any martial arts or, you know, fighting techniques. He's not some Navy SEAL. He's just a regular guy that's obsessed with this idea of revenge and training in his garage. So the way to still make it really exciting and dynamic was to make it visceral and messy, because that's how real fights are. So what we would do was we would choreograph certain parts of the fight, like anchor points in the fight, and then the journey from how we got to that point to the other point, we would create real scrambles between me and the stunt guys. So it was more like improvised and real struggles. Like you're trying to get out, I'm trying to hold you there, and then we fight the way, all of our way to the other point. And I like training some martial arts, Muay Thai, and particularly Jiu-Jitsu. So I would train with all the guys that I was going to have scenes with. So we got really used to working with each other, and we would do some light sparring and stand-up and some more intense sparring with Jiu-Jitsu. And so we got really comfortable with working with each other, and we felt, you know, we could turn up the intensity of the fight sequences without, you know, injuring each other too much.
And I know you already touched on this a little bit, but did you improvise any fight choreography?
Yeah, so we would create these moments, these parts of the fights that were, semi-improvised. We knew that we're getting from this point to that point, but then how we get there, we're going to create a real scramble. We're going to make it messy and clawy, and then of course you're still aware of, you can't punch each other in the face, even though it happens every now and then by mistake. But we're also very motivated to sort of take care of each other.